Hey kids, it's Arp. This is the ArpCast, somewhat live from the foothills of the Great Smoky Mountains in eastern Tennessee. Today we talk about different things, weird people, and maybe unicorns and rainbows. We read poetry and short stories too. Most of all, we keep it real. This is the ArpCast, starting now.
It's ArpCast number 57 here on Monday, February 26, 2018. Man, we're off to a good start to the week. It was a busy day today. We are pseudo live from the K-Town, USA. That's right here in the Great Tennessee Valley. Every MWF. Raise your hand if you know what that means. Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. For you, for me, and for complete strangers. That's right. That's exactly right. YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Blogger. Don't be shy. Subscribe. Conscript your friends, your loved ones. And yes, those perfect strangers. They'll thank you. I'll thank you. Are we on the verge of the death of poetry? That's the topic tonight. The death of poetry. I think not. I hope not. It is, after all, the art form of all art forms, I think. Word, molded into character, into rhyme, a chant of melancholy, or a magnificent love letter. And all things in between. It's just, it's that kind of thing. And it can mean so many different things to so many different people. Here's something from my friend, an old friend of mine, and I hope he doesn't mind, Daniel Moreau, and we'll link to him here in a second, which is a response to a today's phrase of pace thing, which I do every once in a while, that I posted a few days ago about poetry and it being a disease, and I think the person that said it was talking about it being a good thing, I think. I'm not sure. He's weird anyway. Kooky. But this is what Daniel says in response. I think the phrase that pays is poetry a disease? Or poetry is a disease? I'm not sure. I can't remember. I'm old. Getting older. I'm older right now. Let me get to this quote. Just get to the quote, Arp. Yes, Bob. I'm getting there, Bob. Just calm down. Quote, recent events have me convinced more than ever that a lack of poetry or a lack of reading of the right poetry is a disease of which Western civilization has developed an acute case and from which it may not recover. End quote. Daniel Moreau. How poetic. Yes, how poetic. And I've known this young man for a while now, and he's a great kid. And so I'm so happy that he responded, having inspired me tonight. So yes, how poetic and disturbing, right? And disturbing, this marrow of all languages, not just English, but of all languages. Reading and writing poetry is not for everyone. True. But give it a chance. And most of all, don't squash it. Had another conversation with our good friend Dr. Philip Webb tonight about the humanities and how they play such an important part in the development of our culture, of our societies, of our economics, of our everything. We cannot let that development wane. More importantly, we cannot put ourselves between it. Fiscally, philosophically, religiously, it doesn't matter. We cannot do that. So it's not for everyone. But perhaps it's for more, sort of mere romantics, or perhaps scholars of the art form. They all kind of nest together and they sell stuff to one another and they teach one another. Or maybe they're just for people like me, just vagabonds, Bedouins, crossing the arid desert, looking for some sort of inspiration. Why do we look at it as a disease or as a dying, near-death artistic liturgy? Why? Well, go ahead, Arp, tell us why. So, hold on, Bob. It's boring. Yeah, perhaps. It can be boring. Again, it's not for everybody, and not every poet or every poem is for everybody. It can be boring, but, if you look at a poem, and I think most every poem that's where someone's really put some thought into it, and Daniel is very keen to point out that good poetry, but really it's in the eye of the beholder and in the ears of the listener. But it can be boring, right? It's boring. I'm not going to read it. I don't even like to read. I get bored. I fall asleep. Whatever. It's archaic. And I rebut that. That's because there are plenty of hipster poets out there spewing this sort of misanthropic outlook on life. Very modern, not archaic, full of, it could be stand-up comedy, that kind of just sort of negative sort of pessimism. It's complicated. It's another reason. I don't like it. All that rhyme and meter and funny little double meanings. I've got to interpret. I've got to think. Well, what was this guy or gal really trying to tell me? What are they wanting me to see? What are they trying to get me to understand? Sometimes it's nothing more than self-analysis. I'm my own psychiatrist. I'm looking for my own catharsis. An internal focus and introspection that I try to draw out so that I can heal a wound or kill a memory. Could be something as simple as that. But it can be complicated. Finally, it's only for the really, really smart people. I don't even know what that means. If you can read in whatever your chosen language is, poetry is for you. I think first and foremost, poetry is for the writer. And then it's for you, the consuming public. It's not about how smart you are or how many years of schooling you've had or letters after your name. It's none of that. And I think some poets would argue, no, it is about that. We like this sort of closed, almost ecumenical society of poets. And that's who we want to sell to. Well, I think that's hogwash. I think it's for everybody. And I think it's an art form that you need to take another look, at which you need to take another look, and that you need to share in, and consume, and appreciate. That's my opinion. I write a little poetry here and there, I read a little poetry, and I listen to it. My brother's a poet. Give it a chance. This has been the ArpCast on Monday night. We'll see you on Wednesday.
Well, kids, you know who this is. It's Arp, damn it. You have been listening to the ArpCast, a sensational, fact-filled experience meant to change the world. I'm happy you stopped by. Our sponsors, those greedy, wily bastards, thank you too. Make sure to write. This has been the ArpCast. I'm out.